Ahoy, mateys, and welcome to Sail into Poetry with yours truly, Miss Manickle. Today, we are going to be focusing on how illustrations play a role in understanding poems. Now, first, in order to understand how illustrations help us understand a poem, we need to know what illustrations are. So take a moment and think about what illustrations are. If you're thinking of pictures, you got it. Way to go, mateys. You understand what illustrations mean. Now, as we do this, we're going to understand why illustrations are so important when we're understanding poems. And in other words, they're pictures drawn in a poem. So these pictures help us visualize what we're reading about. And it also helps us, the more we visualize, the more we can make connections. The more connections we make, the more likely the information is going to stay in our brains. So now what we're going to do is we're going to be focusing on some of the poems. I will be reading to you and you will be reading along with me. And as I'm reading them to you, I want you to focus on what pictures you see in your mind when you see this. And then I'm also going to share pictures with you as well. So let's set sail with the first example. Little tiny buds burst into the sun-kissed sky, welcoming the spring. Now take a moment and look at that picture. How does that picture help you understand the poem? Listen carefully again as I read it to you. Little tiny buds. So you look here, little buds, right over here, you see them? Burst into the sun-kissed sky. Here the flowers are growing. There's buds, and there they are when they burst open. And look at the sky. You can almost tell that it is sunny and it's welcoming spring. So just by looking at the picture, we get an idea of how spring looks. Now, if it was a bunch of snow, we would definitely know it had nothing to do with spring, right? Right. So as like I said before, looking at the picture helps us create a picture in our minds of what the poem is about. Next, mateys, I'm going to read you this poem and I want you to follow along. And as I'm reading to you, I want you to think of in your mind, what are some things you would draw? What are you picturing as I read this poem to you? Are you ready? Let's do it. 100 animals. I went to the zoo, and what did I see? 100 animals looking at me. There were 10 tall giraffes eating from the trees, 10 silly monkeys scratching their knees, 10 sleeping snakes lying in the sun, 10 munching elephants eating peanuts one by one, 10 leaping tigers performing in the shows, 10 pink flamingos standing on their toes, 10 grouchy bears trying to get some sleep, 10 happy hippos in the water so deep, 10 roaring lions walking 2 by 2, and 10 galloping zebras all living in the zoo. Right, now take a moment and think about that. What image are you seeing in your mind, or if you had the opportunity right now, what would you be drawing? Be drawing a lot of animals, correct? Yes, giraffes. You might have noticed the number 10. 10 tall giraffes, 10 silly monkeys, 10 sleeping snakes, 10 munching elephants, 10 leaping tigers, 10 pink flamingos, 10 grouchy bears, 10 happy hippos, 10 roaring lions, and 10 galloping zebras. There's a lot going on there. So your picture may have a lot going on there. And you may be thinking, okay, giraffes, I know what they look like. Monkeys, snakes, elephants. So you're probably imagining a lot going on. Now I'm going to show you what came to my mind when I saw 100 animals. Are you ready? Here we go. See, I have most of the animals in here. Only one that wasn't in there was the fox. But I think foxes at zoos. So we got giraffes, we got deer, we got lions, we have elephants. You get the idea. So in my mind, I'm picturing all these animals and I'm thinking of the funny things they're doing. So, mateys, I hope this helped you. Now we're going to do another example together. Are you ready? All right. Next one is a chubby snowman. So I want you in your mind right now, take a moment and think of a chubby snowman. Okay, are you ready? Here we go. A chubby snowman, a chubby little snowman, had a carrot for a nose. Along came a bunny, and what do you suppose? That funny little bunny was looking for his lunch, so he ate the snowman's nose. Nibble, nibble, crunch! Nibble, 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 crunch! So are you picturing in your mind what I'm picturing? Take a moment, think about it. I'm thinking of a snowman just cruising, being happy out in the snow. Like, look at me, have my hat, have my scarf around me, and all of a sudden this bunny comes walking up and it's like, holla, I'm going to eat your nose and eat your nose. Right? So this is what I'm picturing, mateys. He's there minding his own business, looking at himself, thinking, I look good. And then all of a sudden a bunny comes over and's like, I'm going to eat your nose. And there, I'm picturing a bunny right there, sitting there, taking the nose off and eating it. Crazy, right? Now I'm going to share a poem with you, mateys. Okay? It's a poem that I wrote. And it does have a little sailor theme in it. So what I want you to do is picture this sailor that I'm writing about. Are you ready? Here we go. There once was a Smurf who mooed on my turf. He wanted to sail the ocean blue, but he didn't have a clue. This little dude made a confession. He needed a lesson. Taylor the sailor set sail. He did it without fail. So there's Taylor the sailor. Okay. Now I want you to picture him on a boat or on a deck. And what comes to your mind? Think of it again. Listen to it again. There once was a Smurf who mooed on my turf. He wanted to sail the ocean blue, but he did not have a clue. This little dude made a confession. He needed a lesson. Taylor's a sailor set sail. He did it without fail. So as you can see, he's happy now. Now, this is what I'm picturing. I'm picturing Taylor in the action. Are you ready? Taylor is Smurf. Are you ready? Here we go. Look at that handsome dude. Look at that little blue dude. Has his telescope, his hat. He looks like he's ready to go. Look at him. Now that's what I'm picturing in my head of a sailor Smurf. What are you picturing? Take a moment and think about it. Maybe you thinking something different. Now, just because we may have different illustrations or different visions in our minds, mateys, does not mean we're wrong. We're basically going to have different views because we are individuals. And individuals learn things different ways and keep information in their head in different ways. It just all depends on how your brain retains information. Now, mateys, it is your turn. What you're going to do is you're going to write a poem with an illustration. And your illustration is going to help us understand your poem. We are very excited to see what you are going to share with us. Good luck. And as always a pleasure, mateys. And sail on!